My name is Pete Malicki and I am best known as a producer, a writer and a monologue specialist. I had a story that I thought was worth sharing. This year I ran an event called World Monologue Games, a global acting competition that saw 3,000 competitors from 85 countries register. We didn't split the categories down by demographic in any way, so there was no category for gender, nothing for race, nothing for age beyond having child, youth and adult, which meant that we had 19-year-olds and 79-year-olds competing together. We didn't even have different categories for language, so English and non-English performers were in the same category together. This all culminated in our global finals, which was the top 75 performers across the 6 categories that we had. The winners were selected by a panel of judges who were really deep experts, people who run acting schools, people who have spent their life working in film and television, people with PhDs, people who run theatre companies, that kind of thing. As well as having some contribution from the audience, which we kept to be relatively small so it didn't turn into a social media popularity contest. But what was really interesting was that of the 18 podium finishes, the bronze, silver and gold across the 6 categories, 11 different nations were represented, and 5 of those 18 weren't even performing in English, including 3 of the 6 winners. So what this says to me is that people watching entertainment don't value things like looks, age and race. They're just interested in seeing quality performances. We had 70,000 views across the event, which is not the reach of a Hollywood movie, of course, but it's still a microcosm of the entertainment industry and what people think. And from my own career of having maybe 400,000 or 500,000 views in my live production and film work, I've just never seen any evidence of people caring about anything other than a great performance. I think it's really important to state as well that as a producer, I am deeply interested in the audience's experience and the audience's views. I am not making work for myself. I'm not making it for my creative buddies. I'm making it for the audience. But I've just not seen the evidence that they value things other than great performances. I think it's also worth mentioning, in the interest of balance, that the only time I've been criticised was for putting on a show where I was told there wasn't enough diversity, despite the fact that 5 of the 8 performers came from different nations. They just all looked white or whitish. And frankly, I find this to be just as pernicious as casting white people because you think that's what your audience wants to see. So for me, the most important thing is to cast on merit. I welcome anybody to apply, no matter where you come from. It's just, that's just not what I'm looking for. I'm not interested in your race or your gender or your age unless it's relevant to the role. I'm just interested in how good you are. And merit might mean not only good acting skills, it might also mean professionalism and attitude, because that stuff's really important too. But I will not care about your demographic unless it's relevant to the role. If you think this is an important message, if you think that we've moved past the point of caring about things other than great performances, then I'd encourage you to share this with people you know who work in the industry to show that the times have changed and this is the thing that they should be emphasizing. And really importantly, if you are an actor who's ever been told that you are too Asian or too old or too whatever for a role, get involved in World Monologue Games. You can perform anything that you want, as long as you get the writer's permission to use their script. If you don't write it yourself, you're very welcome to pick anything at all. You'll never be told you're too anything. We are only interested in finding the best actors, and we'd love to have you involved. If you're a producer and you're interested in encouraging diversity in your work, there's going to be lots of different ways to do it. I'm not telling you that there's only one way, but I just want to share what I did for World Monologue Games. I actually didn't emphasize diversity at all, beyond putting different races and different genders in the advertising for the event, because as a global event, I think it's important that you show the different people who are being represented. But what I did is I created the circumstances to allow for diversity. So I created the framework of an event that let everybody participate. And the one thing that I did, which was really important for me, was making the event free to account for people's different economic circumstances. Because around the world, there's a lot of diversity of financial situations. There are countries that have less wealth and people who don't have that much money. So keeping the event free was really important to me, to allow as many people as possible to participate, and also to really take the emphasis away from the production of the work and making it on the performance. So it wasn't about your camera and your audio, it was really just about the acting. Now, that's definitely not the only way to do things, but for me it was super important to like give opportunity for everybody. And look, the event lost money this year. Maybe in the future we'll put a small entry fee on it, but I'm always committed to trying to make it accessible for everybody possible. So thank you for watching this message. Once again, if you agree with it, then please share it with people you think need to hear it. And I think it's really time that we focus on what matters most, which is the quality of performance, and we stop caring about things like age or race or gender or whatever other thing it is, if that does not matter.